You don't know me, but I'm your brother. I was raised here in this living hell. You don't know my kind in your world. Fairly soon the time will tell. You telling me the things you're gonna do for me. I ain't blind and I don't like what I think I see. Taking it to the streets, come on. Taking it to the streets, yeah. Oh, oh, take this message to my brother. You will find him everywhere. Wherever people live together, yeah. Tied in poverty's despair. Are you telling me the things you're gonna do for me? I ain't blind and I don't know what I think I see. Taking it to the streets. Oh no, no, no. Taking it to the streets, yeah. Taking it, yeah. Taking it to the streets, yeah. Oh no, no, no. Taking it to the streets. No, 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 no. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Mr. Donald James Harper.
Great to see you, Keith.
Yeah, great to see you as well. A little Michael McDonald action going on.
Yeah, you know.
I love it. I love the voice of Michael McDonald.
Right, though.
So good. Good morning, everyone, and happy Sunday. Happy in-person Sunday. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and I'm happy to share this time and space continuum with you, known as Sunday, July 13th. Isn't that correct? The 13th in the year 2025, right? On a Sunday that feels like it's been 8 years since we've been together, and at the same time, the last week from when we were together online, it seems like forever ago, right? So I'm so deeply appreciative that you're here in person and that we're coming together today to remember who we are as divine beings and to anchor into our field of awareness the possibilities that exist in life, to fine-tune our consciousness to reflect its own nature. In our philosophy, faith, and way of life, we look at our own nature as being an individualization of the only thing there is, and we're imbued with the qualities that include peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. And so today it's my personal objective through opening up to spirit to ignite or stir up within each of you. Come on in, Sandra. With each of you, whether you're here with us in the room in person or if you're watching us online through Zoom and or through YouTube Live, to connect to that energy and that feeling in a new way, to not deny what's going on in the outer world, because there's a lot going on in the outer world, but to let that be what it is while we also open ourselves up to a revelation, to the power that we're imbued with and those qualities that are there. And so to speak of those qualities and engage in them, let's start with the one, beauty. Now, obviously, that would be me. But more importantly, it's these flowers, right? I don't know if they can see them online, but aren't these flowers just exquisite? And they are here as being shared with us by Congregation Kol Ami, and they were here for their Shabbat service on Friday evening, if I understand it correctly, as a celebration for the first service for Rabbi Lindsay after her installation as the full-time minister here. So let's take in that energy of celebration for her that was here Friday night, and the congregation of Kolami, which has just had a fabulous, busy, full month of celebration. And let that then stir up within us the quality of joy. And as we do that, I invite you all to stand and say hello to each other and just connect, feeling, hand to hand, heart to heart, if that feels good to you in the room. And if not, you can just bow and say namaste. And so for those of you that are watching online, I invite you to, in your own mind's eye, bow and say namaste to others online, even in the chat windows if you'd like to do so, or to each other. And Anne is telling us to water the flowers. So they are real. They are definitely real. And so I love having everyone say hello, because even though it may feel weird in the moment, what it does is it stirs up energy. And what we learn in our teaching is that everything is energy, and we just label it by different words, such as the individualization, or peace, or power, or beauty, or God, right? Or the word energy itself. It's all just energy that's moving. And so we are both recipients of that energy. We're also expressions out of that energy. We're channels of that energy. And we both process, express it, and experience through our thoughts, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions, and interactions with the very thing itself, which is energy, which we in our teaching oftentimes call life itself. And so we come together to remember that and to acknowledge it. Today, I am really going to go kind of organic with this, even though we follow the format, because I didn't know who would be here. We had a lot of people that sent in texts that said that they were out of town this weekend. We have many that were sick. Some were afraid of the weather because it was wet this morning. And then we have things going down on the streets of our city where some people feel unsafe to get out and be in public. And so today, my goal is for us to just hang together and open up, and to feel some energy and some peace and some power and acknowledge beauty itself. We open our service each and every Sunday morning with a ritual called Calling in the Light. And we do that every Sunday through the objective of opening up our awareness to the collective consciousness and acknowledge the oneness of life itself. And so we light a candle doing that. And as we light this candle, I'm going to invite you to open your mind's eye to bringing into your mind's eye an awareness to whatever that light means. I put together I put together 4 or 5 prayers, printed prayers to read today, because I didn't know which ones I wanted to read. We're going to read 2 and then give one on my own. One is from Rumi that we've used often in our community. And the words are, I prayed for change, so I changed my mind. I prayed for guidance and learned to trust myself. I prayed for happiness and realized I'm not my ego. I prayed for peace and learned to accept others unconditionally. I prayed for abundance and realized my doubt kept it out. I prayed for wealth and realized it's my health. And I prayed for a miracle and realized I am the miracle. I prayed for a soulmate and realized I am the one. And I prayed for love and realized it's always knocking, but I have to allow it in. So let's all agree together that we are letting it in. And as we let it in through that act of revelation, we're also letting go and releasing anything that's not in alignment with our divine energy. I think often of the Ricky Byers Beckwith song, I release and I let go. I let spirit run my life. That's a pretty intellectual idea, and yet it's one that's visceral as well if we're willing to open up to it. This poem came into my awareness. I don't even know if it was through Facebook or text or however. It's all kind of melds together after a while at this stage in life. But I immediately printed it out laying in bed last night to read today because I think it's very appropriate and poignant and pertinent to where we're all at on this journey of life. And it's titled Letting Go. And whether we're letting go of the loss of a loved one or the loss of a four-legged spiritual offspring or an attachment to something that we have or just to the world being radically different than we thought it was going to be, or loved ones who's lost stuff in the fire that we were talking about earlier, let's let these words imprint our soul and invoke healing. We must let go of those hurtful things that burn and hiss and bite and sting, that hurt the heart and clip our wings, where we can't fly and we can't sing. I think it's time to turn the page, turn the light, and quiet the rage. Forgive the slights we cannot change, and spread our wings to escape this cage. I invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you. And imagine in our mind's eye that we are indeed not just escaping the cage, but being freed from the cage, the enslavement of old ideology, of past thoughts, of anything within our mind that is an infringement or a hurt that has kept us back from just knowing in the moment that we are the perfection and the wholeness and the completeness of the divine itself. It's not just some mantra that's used in metaphysical teachings. There is a spiritual truth to it. And so we let it rise up and mean something new to us right here and right now without any attachment to what that is. Just saying, use me, mind, God, Lord. Set me free. And it's in the freedom I, the individual, each one of us, whether we're in the room or online, opens ourselves up with intention and purpose to find comfort, not out of denial, but as an opening up to an alignment to that which already is. And just as the bird flies with wings on air, we let that be a metaphor for us of how we move out into the next expression, meaning the next moment of the next moment of the next moment. In our own life, being more confident and secure and clear on what we're here to be. Love. The self-givingness of spirit. And so this candle that's been illuminated in our service today represents the light that is within all of us and within all of life. And so we sing together the song, Calling in the Light, affirming that within us. And so it is.
Calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love, calling in the light, calling in the light, calling in the light of love. Repeat after me. I am love, I am peace in my heart, I am free, I am spirit, I am soul, all together we are whole. Calling in the light,
So it is. Yes. So it's my understanding that Donald James Harper's parents are watching us online today. Did they text you to confirm or not?
It's possible.
It's possible.
I think so.
So let's say a hello to them if that is in case that they are there. It's so good to have you back in the room. We were just online together a few weeks ago, and originally we were scheduled to have James and Jason Goldstein together, and Jason's significant, his wife, I believe it's his wife, right? His wife's father is really, really sick, and he asked if he could be excused, and did he need to cover for him, get somebody to cover for himself. Like, this dude's got it on his own. Like, he's typically performs on his own. He'll be fine. We miss Jason without a doubt because they have such a great collaboration when they're together, but we certainly miss him and send he and his family a lot of love. Welcome to those of you that have just arrived in the room. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox. This is Donald James Harper, and this is our community of the day. So we're so happy to have everybody here today. So how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm fantastic. A little tired, but you know.
Tell them why you're a little tired.
I played an event last night for about 2,500 school counselors at Long Beach Convention Center. And they
with an open bar. That's the part he's leaving.
With a real open bar. It was very open. And they turned up, and it was a great time. And yeah.
I was asking him, I said, were they drinking? He goes, were they drinking? I'm like, well, good for them, right? Good for them, so. Good. All right, cool. So there's a song you're about to sing, right?
Indeed.
There's a song he's going to sing that I requested that is, right, that's the one, right? Mm-hmm. That has very special meaning to me, and it may for many of you. And I really invite you to listen to the lyrics to this song and let them speak to you however they speak to you. But listen to them and what they may mean. So take it away.
When I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things that I've been knowing. When would it make the tall grass bend and leaning? Suddenly the raindrops that fall have a meaning, and spring leaves sing, makes it all clean. Maybe there's a chance for me to go back now that I have some direction. It sure would be nice to be back home and there's love and affection. And maybe I can convince time to slow up, giving me enough time in my life to grow up. Time be my friend, let me start again. Suddenly my world has gone and changed its face, yet I know where I am going. I've had my mind run around in place, yet I've watched it growing. And if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard for us to know if we should believe the things that we see. Tell us, should we run away? Should we try and stay? Oh yeah, living in this brand new world may be a fantasy, but it's taught me how to love. fun to find a world of love like yours, like mine, like
Yo, Donald James Harper.
Thank you.
And just learned that song, by the way, everybody. Like, I just put it, we talked about it on Thursday, right? So, thank you.
Thank you for introducing me to it.
Had you never,
Lovely.
You said you didn't know it, so, right?
No.
Well, you did it, baby. Quite wonderful. Quite wonderful. So, thank you, thank you. That song is from the movie or the play, really, The Wiz, and originally done by Stephanie Mills. And as you can hear the emotion that stirred up in me as I'm talking about it, I oftentimes talk to you all about there's music that when I'm processing just whatever life is about, as we all do as humans, that I listen to over and over and over again. And that's one of those songs that I listen to a lot, because I think not only is the energy and the story quite spectacular and heartwarming, and one that I believe we can all relate to, which is, it's at a time in the play when Dorothy is trying to get back home and what she's missing, right? Does anyone feel over the last week or 3 weeks that there have been times when you want to get back home, that there's something you're missing? And I'm speaking both literally if one has lost their home, physically, but more importantly, I'm speaking of that place within us that we call home, that place within us, as it says in the opening lines. When I think of home, I think of a resting place, a place where there's peace, quiet, and serenity. Peace, quiet, and serenity can also be they're words that are equal to peace, power, beauty, joy, light, life, love, and wisdom, the qualities of the divine that we believe in our philosophy, faith, and way of life that we're each imbued with. What Miss Mills and ultimately others, Diana Ross, did in the play, in the film, Craig clocked that the minute I said it, right? He was like, no, that was the film. That they're looking for in that moment is to return to that which is within us that we're no longer physically, or those individuals, experiencing. It says, when I think of home, I think of a place where there's love overflowing. It goes on to say, I wish I was home, I wish I was back there with the things I've been knowing. Wind that makes the tall grass bend into leaning, suddenly the raindrops that fall, they have a meaning. Sprinkling the scene makes it all clean. I don't know about you guys. I do know about you guys. For me, there have been times in the world that we're living in right now where I think there's a lot that's happening that seems to have no meaning, right? And it's really confusing and unsettling and heart-wrenching. And at the same time, if the foundations of what we teach in this metaphysical teaching is that humanity as expressions, as beings of life, are always evolving, in as much as there are times it feels like we're devolving, that these spiritual principles still hold true. For my own personal journey right now, what I know that I've been called to do more and more on this journey is to ask myself day by day, thought by thought, moment by moment, what am I bringing to life itself? How am I showing up? What am I believing to be true? What energy am I willing to put out into the universe? Am I willing to stand up and be present as the presence to the best of my ability, while at the same time giving myself both permission and space to be human, right? To let my humanity be connected to my divinity while letting my divinity guide my humanity. Well, what does that mean when I say that? Well, what it means is to be kind, to be gentle, to also be angry when that's necessary, to take action, to participate, to stand up to injustice, to stand up to those that I believe are propagating what's going on in the world today, and at the same time, listen to my intuition, right? So know that more than one thing can unfold at a time. And today, my objective for all of us that are sharing in this time-space continuum, hi Tamara, together is to open ourselves up to the willingness to see things differently, not from the perspective of denying life the way it is, but it's through the willingness of seeing things differently so that we may garner a new perspective. And it's from that new perspective lies the possibility of having a new way of thinking. In the lyrics, James, as Stephanie Mills, as Diana Ross sings, and just maybe I can convince time to slow up. Give me enough time to, in my life, to grow up. Time be my friend, and let me start again. One of the things that is so critical and important about our teaching is that we are always presented with the opportunity to start again. Because one of the foundational components of our teaching is change your thinking, change your life. And sometimes that has an air about it, right? That has an air about, well, then am I changing it to the right thing? Or what I thought before, did that cause what I'm experiencing right now? And it's important to suspend both of those components and just give the individual, the self, the gift in that moment to just simply change your thinking. And to change it to what? Well, it can be one of a myriad of things. It can either be to knowing that I am as the divine, the peace and the power and the beauty and the joy and the light and the love of the divine. Or it can be to ask yourself, as asked in these lyrics, and oh, if you're listening, God, please don't make it hard. I don't know about you guys, and I say that because I'm assuming I do know about you guys, but there have been times in the last few weeks where I'm wondering, like, really? This God thing, is it, like, really? Like, really? And what I know in that moment is what's being called forth through me, as it is for each of you, is to not say, well, what I know the power of the universe to be in that moment is, fill in the blank, but to say, oh, God, if you're listening, well, what do I believe that power to be? I don't know, but am I willing to open up and let it show itself to me? And I believe in that case it will, if we're willing to open up and let it. We have to be a participant in co-creating our world, and certainly in a world such as today, it's really important to know that change is always happening. Change has always been happening. It always will be happening. And the question that we get to ask ourselves is, how are we willing to show up in it, and what do we want to bring into the moment of our awareness? So often I teach with my counseling clients that the first step on the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening is to open your mind to your awareness of your awareness. To just be open to, we all have within us the ability to be aware of what we're thinking, of what we're believing, of what we're opening to, how we're using our mind. And then, from there, consciously choose something anew. Without a doubt, the world that we're living in is unique today. And if there are problems, which we all know there are, we have to create solutions or reveal those solutions. And how do we do that? Albert Einstein tells us we do that from this quote. We have to learn to think in a new way. Who feels like they are caught in a rut of thinking the same way over and over and over and over again? Sure, because the world is coming at us. Marianne Williamson posted in her blog called Transform to remember we will not solve the problems of the world from the levels of thinking we were at when we created them. So then therefore new thinking is needed. Last week when we closed our service online, I invited all of us as an invitation and as an instruction to be willing to step into the engagement of this poem, if you will, by Christiane Martin as a guide for us throughout the week, that no matter what unfolds, that we're willing to have those new thoughts and for them to be steeped in these words. When your world moves too fast and you lose yourself in the chaos, introduce yourself to each color of the sunset. Reacquaint yourself with the earth beneath your feet. Thank the air that surrounds you with every breath you take, and find yourself in the appreciation of life. Amazing, right? Profound. Now I'm going to read it again. And I'm going to invite you not to hear the words, but to feel them in your momentary experience as these words energetically come to you. When your world moves too fast and you lose yourself in the chaos, introduce yourself to each color of the sunset. Reacquaint yourself with the earth beneath your feet. Put your feet on the ground in this moment and hear those words again. I'm inviting you to put your feet, both of them, on the ground in this moment, and to give yourself the journey of reacquainting yourself through your awareness of the earth beneath your feet. And then thank the air that surrounds you with every breath you take as we inhale and exhale. And then find yourself right now in the appreciation of life. Now, when I were to do that, and just did that with you all, I felt a shift in my being, in my awareness, if for no other reason, because I know that we're sharing that experience, both online and in the room. But also I know in this philosophy, faith, and way of life, we believe that everything, as I started out today, is energy. And each word has energy. And each time we've put our feet on the ground, there's an energy to that. Every time we've heard the word appreciation, there's an energy to that. And we're all tapping into that in our teaching that's called collective consciousness. And so we're tapping into a collective consciousness that is on the side of healing as opposed to the opposite of that. It's not an energy of dis-ease, it's an energy of healing. And as we open up to that, because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law, the more that we tap into that which it is and participate in it, then it moves out into the universe and returns back to itself through the law of magnetism or the law of attraction or the law of life, right? And we get to experience more of that. The key to living moment by moment by moment by moment, and returning back to home, as Stephanie Mills invited us to do, is to remember that at all times we have the freedom to think anew. We have the freedom to stop and to inhale and to exhale. We have the freedom to put our feet on the ground and feel what's there. And we have the freedom to tap into the energy that is the collective consciousness of that which we speak of. Our theme for this month is freedom is my divine right. I've wrestled with that continuing to be our theme this month, given what's going on, certainly on the grounds of this beloved city we call home. And it's without a doubt a very high-minded idea. And even at times, for myself, I might have possibly thought it was a crock of BS. Okay? But it's not. There is a spiritual truth to it, that freedom is my divine right because we're mental beings imbued with the ability to make choices, and it's through that choice that we can then change our thinking. We can create a shift and open ourselves up to having a spiritual awakening and ultimately connecting to the power that is within us and providing for us, through us, the opportunity to find personal self-empowerment. It's important to remember that freedom is my divine birthright. Yes, that is a spiritual truth, even though at times it may not feel like that's the case at the physical level. And certainly we know that there are individuals right now that are losing their physical freedom in our world. And that sucks big time. And we began by speaking and affirming and knowing truth, because the energy still moves at all times. And then It's from tuning back into what we know ourselves to be and what's the possibilities of alignment with spiritual principles, and then doing the work where change begins. One of the things that drew me into this teaching many, many years ago was the concept of one, change your thinking, change your life. B, that we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual principle and the laws of life respond to us. And C, the beliefs themselves have power when we engage in them, and that this teaching is all based on mind is the healing component or the healing tool. Healing in this context means the revealing of the divine itself, of wholeness. You know, in many of our communities around the world, and we used to hear every Sunday morning would stand up and state out loud the Declaration of Principles. It's known as what we believe, and first issued in 1927 in the Science of Mind magazine, following the publication of the book, The Science of Mind, written by Dr. Ernest Holmes. And there's two of these principles that I would like to address right now as I move on to sharing whatever is the needing to be shared through me right now. And it is this, and I invite you to open yourself up as to what it means to you when you hear these. It's written in the we believe, and oftentimes they're stated in I believe. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one, indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all of creation, but is not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It's the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. We believe in the individualization of the Spirit in us, and that all people are individualizations of the one Spirit. We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul, forever and ever expanding. Is that always easy to remember? No. Is it something that you agree with? That's up to your own mind. I personally agree with them. They speak to me. They have great power, these principles, to me in life. And certainly I question many facets of them at all times. As I hear them, I read them, I affirm them. But what I keep returning back to is the core beliefs of them, and that is that we do believe in the soul, and that it's the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual soul. And when I find myself thinking that's not true, or putting myself in circumstances that contradict it, or when I do let my emotions drive my behavior in time, and I'm not reflecting my divinity of peace and power and beauty and joy and light and life and love and wisdom. Anybody ever have those moments? Right? I realize I'm not living from my essence. I'm living from my ego. We're taught that, and I received this recently from a friend, this great quote that speaks to the soul and the ego. The ego is impatient. It knows its time is limited. However, the soul is patient. It knows its time is eternal. Why is that important? Because on these days of living in the world where life is changing before us and things are showing up that we may or may not particularly love or care for or understand or appreciate, it's important to ask ourselves, how are we engaging? Is it from our ego or is it from our soul? Another Ricky Byer song is My Soul Remembers. When we let our soul guide us, we then open up to putting our feet on the floor, to breathing, to seeing the colors of the sunset and the rainbow. And it's within there that when our soul remembers, we align with those energies of the divine, which is indeed one energy. The thing to remember on this journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening is the universe is not changing. The principles of life are not changing. The opportunity to think anew is not changing. The opportunity to have a new perspective is not changing. It all comes back to the individual and trusting the universe. I've shared many times this writing by a peer of mine, Dr. Peter Wells, called The Daily Word, and I think it's very pertinent to where we're at on this journey, and I'm going to read it to you again. I read it last week. It says, the universe, and it's something I think is important for all of us to remember, the universe is ready to support you. You get to decide the kind of life you want to experience by deciding what kind of person you are. You get to choose the life you want to express by choosing character, integrity, and possibility. The bigger you get on the inside, the bigger your life becomes. The more loving, peaceful, and positive you are on the inside, the more universe reflects this back to you in ever-increasing ways. The more you can imagine making of your life, the more you get to manifest. So dream big, embody your truest self, and imagine the life you want is your life now. Together, you and the universe are unstoppable. 20th century metaphysics, old school me, I would read this and think, oh, a car, a house, a lover, new clothes. All that's true. But I believe right now what it's calling us to become bigger on the inside is peace, compassion, engagement, acceptance, awareness, perspective, less anger. And then just see how that feels. I listen to Abraham Hicks a lot. Thank you, Tamara, for sending that to me quite some time ago. I walk a lot with my four-legged spiritual offspring, Sweeney, and I listen as much as I can to old school terminology would be self-help stuff, right? But it's Abraham Hicks, and it's Louise Hay, and it's Maya Angelou, right? I even consciously, as I've said before, listen to traditional Christian interpretation of prayer and the Bible so that I can ask myself, do I believe of what they're saying, or do I get pissed off and judge them while I'm listening to them? And if I get pissed off and judge it while I'm listening to it, that's a great gift, because it gives me the opportunity to really question, okay, where am I, what am I coming from? How am I showing up? And do I believe that just because in the moment I'm choosing to be a pissy little queen, then that the universe has stopped doing its part? No, it still does its thing impersonally. Doesn't matter what I'm choosing to be. The universe responds by corresponding and providing us experiences in life, whether they're moment by moment by moment experiences or the collective of the macro consciousness in life, which is what we're experiencing in humanity today, by the way, of that which is a reflection of the totality of the way that we're thinking and using it in the moment. Abraham tells us that what we're here to do is to just become more aware of how we're using our mind. And sometimes taking that quantum leap from being pissed off to being the divine is a really strong journey and a long distance journey in the moment. And it's not really helpful for us to think that what we have to do is to take a quantum leap. What's called for us in that moment is to be gentler with ourselves, to be kinder with ourselves, to be more forgiving with ourselves, to be more loving with ourselves, and to remember that we've been on a journey, many of us in the room, for many, many, many years. And I'm not speaking of the many, many, many years because of how long you've been in the teaching. I'm speaking of chronology. We've all been around for quite some time, and what we're called for, even though we grow older year by year, is to be very grateful of the journey that we've had, to let go of any energetic attachment that we have to it, and be open to a new idea. I don't know why exactly that I felt the need to take this off my bookshelf today, but in talking about my beloved Sweeney, my previous, and I know I did it because it was wanting to remind me of the journey that I've been on in this role and the journey that we've all been on, and it's of Sweeney's predecessor, who used to come and hang out all here all the time, named Sadie. And this is a photo of her, and someone in the office here brought this to me as a gift years ago, and it's her looking at me, in essence, if you will, saying, "Thanks for everything. I had a wonderful time." The reason I wanted to share that is to support us. You hold this now. Anne used to take care of Sadie. You did, yeah. So how many years ago? 6, 7? Well, she died in 2018, so it had to be before that. The reason I wanted to talk about that is because I wanted us to remember just that we've all been on a journey, and that no matter what's happening in today's world, we're going to continue on this journey. And it's really up to us as to how we want to be present. How we want to be present and how we're willing to stay conscious on the journey as we were called into it through the lyrics of the song Home. I felt compelled to share this today. It's a little long, and I promise you we'll get through it. We'll get out of here in a timely manner. But something tells me it's going to speak to us today. And it's from a dear friend of mine, and many of you know him, Dr. Jim Lockhart, a very dear friend of my beloved Mary Steck sitting here. And he just turned 74. And this is musings on turning that in his blog called New Thought Evolutionary. And I think it will give each of us some insight as to how to show up from today forward. He always opens his writings with quotes that are pertinent to the quotes. And the first was from Paul Simon in a song called Old Friends, How Terribly Strange to Be 74. And Renee Weingarten writes, old age cannot be cured. An epoch or a civilization cannot be prevented from breathing its last. A natural process that happens to all flesh and all human manifestations cannot be arrested. You can only wring your hands and utter a beautiful swan song. He writes, I've had the great good fortune to grow old as a religious scientist. And it was the opening line that really made me want to share this with all of us religious scientists in the room. This means that I've had an advantage that I would not otherwise have had. That is knowing how to direct my thoughts and feelings towards my good, health, wealth, creativity, vitality, etc., as a matter of practice. This advantage has brought me, I believe, a far more fulfilling life than I might have had given my former trajectory. Looking back at my 35 plus years in this teaching, all of it as a student and some of it as a minister, I can see how different my mental state is than before. I'm reminded of something that a classmate of mine in what was then called Science of Mind 1 said to me. And don't let this alarm you, this next statement. That's not the purpose I'm sharing this in this context. It was during a class break, and he was an elderly gentleman, although probably not as old as I am now, and he said to me, you know, don't you, the science of mind is about learning how to die. I replied, I did not know that. He went on to the effect that it's only by learning how to live that we learn how to die. He meant that by living fully, when the time for death comes, we are prepared, fulfilled, if you will. And once again, I'm not proposing that you all should die right now or that you're necessarily prepared for it. It's about the journey here of life. And he goes on to write that when we have not learned how to live, we resist and struggle with death. And when I speak of death in this moment, I'm not speaking solely of the last breath. I'm speaking of the death of letting go of what we knew to be. It need not be so, he goes on to say. Another lesson that this teaching has brought me over the years is the importance of humility. I do not mean the way humility is often understood as the need for self-deprecation or diminishment. I mean in its truest sense as living as honestly as possible. To be humble is to live in truth. This means that I both see my own faults, but I also know that my potential is virtually unlimited. I want you to hear that again. To be humble is to live in truth. This means that I both see my own faults, but that I also know that my potential is virtually unlimited. Today, it is my reminder to remind all of you to invite into yourself to remember that your potential is unlimited. Just let that seep into your soul. Remember, my soul remembers. Let your soul align with that. And check your ego to the side if it's checking in and going like, well, I've only got 8 years left or 4 years left. Your soul is not bound by time or space. But while it's within you in this humanly body, it's serving you quite well if you're willing to let it do that. and to make a commitment today to the best of your ability to strengthen your spiritual practices in life. Lockhart goes on to talk about a strong spiritual life requires mental awareness and emotional intelligence. 20th century metaphysics or science of mind would have not added that latter part. It would have said what we needed to have was a strong spiritual life in practice. And what that meant was, in a mantra form, to say, I am God, God is me, I am God, God is me, and so it is. And then when crap showed up, turn back to I am God, God is me, and so it is. And is that important? Absolutely. Should be the backbone and the foundation of how we navigate this life, this spiritual life, that is a human life, on the journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. But none of that's going to do us any good if we live in spiritual bypass or deny what we're feeling. When he says emotional intelligence, he's saying connect to your emotions, and it's through your emotions then you can tune into that which is called for deeply within us to be healed, and to remember the healing act is revealing wholeness or oneness, which is that power within us that knows that it knows that I am God and God is me and all is well. They go hand in hand, tongue and groove. And it's on that journey that we then prepare ourselves to engage more, to trust more, and to have Spirit reveal through us that which it desires for us to know, which is exactly how I began. The last of the principles that I would like to read for us today, which I think is also an instruction and invitation, is this. And we believe in the direct revelation of truth through our intuitive and spiritual nature, and that anyone may become a revealer of truth who lives in close contact with the indwelling God. Today, we each have before us equal opportunity to open ourselves up to our contact to the indwelling God. There's not more of it than it was before you got here. There's not less. There's not going to be more. It doesn't change. But we change through our willingness and our intention and our openness and our receptivity to our awareness of it. It's through that awareness and our awareness of its awareness that we do indeed, if we're willing to ride the journey, find home. Home is there. Thank you. James has another song for us.
Well, it's not far down to paradise. At least it's not for me. The wind is right, you can sail away, find tranquility. On the canvas can do miracles. Just you wait and see. Won't you believe me? It's not far to Never Never Land. A reason to pretend. The wind is right, you can find the joy of innocence again. On the canvas can do miracles. Just you wait and see. Won't you believe me? Sailing takes me away to where I've always dreamed it could be. Dream in the wind to carry me, and soon I will be free. Fantasy, it gets the best of me when I'm sailing, all caught up in the reverie. Every word is a takes me away to where I've always dreamed it could be. Just a dream in the wind to carry me. Soon I will be free. But it's not far back to sanity, at least it's not for me. If the wind is right, you can sail away and find serenity. Oh, the canvas can do miracles, just you wait and see. Won't you believe me? Sailing takes me away to where I've always dreamed it would be. Dream in the wind to carry me. Soon I will be free. I'll be free. Yes, I'll be free.
You never cease to surprise me and amaze me. I just love it. Like, where'd you pull that out of, Christopher Cross?
I've been just obsessed with this song recently. It's gorgeous. It's so gorgeous.
You weren't even born when it was released. You do know that, right?
I do know that.
It was because it was released in the late 70s. Like,
Yeah.
I remember, yeah. Sorry, that took me back on a journey. Well, Christopher Cross, right? I've been talking about a journey. I mean, we can all kind of relate. I think it was 1979, right? So if you're in the room and you weren't born in 1979, raise your hands. You were born in 19... You've been born a couple of times by 1979, Wendy. And as a former Christian, I've been born 2 or 3 times, yes. So anyway. Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you, thank you. And thank you all for being here. Some of you arrived after we began, and so just want you to know that we're deeply appreciative that you're here today. I love seeing all you here. I really thought like there would be like 4 of us here today for some reason. I don't know. So it's been great to know that the room has people and energy and love, and whatever drew you into here today, I know for all of us that our souls are being served, and we're feeling and hearing, and it's being revealed to us exactly what we are seeking. The great Rumi quote is that what you are seeking is seeking you. And so that is indeed happening because that's the nature of the universe. And so thank you all for being here. I'm glad you're here, and continue to shine your light as you carry on about your journey. I keep giving you our vision statement, which I didn't call it out earlier. And our vision statement for our community is supporting individuals finding their personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And so as time unfolds over the next week, know that you're supported. And however we may support you, if you're in need of any practitioner work or counseling or ministers, they're available. You can find that information on our website, CSL-LA.org, and or the app in the App Store. Center for Spiritual Living is there, as well as we have a New Thought text for the day that goes out each morning at 7:30. I was going to use today's in our my message, and it escaped me. It clearly wasn't right. But it's a great quote today, and it's also from Rumi. And it says, as you start to walk on the way appears. And my dear friend Janie Ridges McGuire, who posted it first, qualified that by saying, clarity does not come before action, it comes from action. And so just remember, whatever you seek before you on the journey of your life is ready to reveal itself. And because we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law, the law of magnetism is pulling you to that. Your role and my role is to open up to it along the way. And so, Wednesday morning, We have a midweek morning meditation that's online. Feel free to join us. All that information can be in our newsletter and or on our website. New thought texts go out for the day. The next Sunday that we're back in person is the second Sunday in August, and we're online every other Sunday after that. And next Sunday, I continue my series of conversations with Dr. Keith. And my guest next week for conversations is the one and only Reverend Lisa Ferraro, who's just amazing. And so she's doing really great work in the Midwest and through a music ministry, a lot of it. So I invite you to participate in that and know that. There are many Hostess donuts for you outside. MINI and MANY. If you would like to participate in those, as well as coffee and tea and water, please avail yourself of spiritual community. Jesus has got it, but thank you. Yes, and before we close out, we're going to, I'm going to give everyone the opportunity to support our community financially. And you can do that by going online to our website, CSL-LA.org, or to the app in the App Store. And or Jesus Ernesto Reyes, one of our board members, is going to pass along a basket, and feel free to do that as James blesses us with a little bit of music.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be.
Feel free to sing along if you want.
God has created, united all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my solemn vow. To take each moment, live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so as we close out, as we close out, I invite you to close your eyes once again and just allow yourself to feel. Just to feel the moment. Feel the energy of transformation that has unfolded. Just let all the words that have been spoken and sung, and the laughter and the joy and the beauty, all just take an imprint in your soul. Remembering this flickering flame that's in the candle that's here on our altar. And as I extinguish it in your mind's eye, I invite you to let it become part of your imagination as being a part of you. And then to make a commitment to yourself to remember that all along the way, to the best of your ability, day by day, thought by thought, action by action, reaction by reaction, this light is there within you to guide you, to illuminate your pathway, and most importantly, to be there for you, I, the individual, when we need to remember that we are, in fact, light. And even if you need to affirm and sing out loud when you feel confused in days, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. And the key to that is then letting it shine and shine and shine. You are indeed the light of the world, and so it is. Namaste. Thank you. Thanks for being here. Peace and blessings.